Hello, 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 and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jameelah, and I am a master manifester, and I'm sure you are too, because you're watching content like this. The name of this channel is Holistic Manifesting, because I believe in a whole body, whole mind, and whole being experience when it comes to manifesting these amazing lives that we're choosing to live, right? What I am discussing in this video is never disclosing your next move to others. And I know we've all heard the term, move in silence, and it kind of is based upon, protecting your vision, protecting your goals, and making sure that other people don't have any opportunity to sabotage them or to speak down upon them or to shift your energy about them, right? But there's an even deeper perspective in that. What I'm learning more recently is that when you are disclosing information about what you're doing next in life, it truly makes it about others and not about you. And when you are caught up on the idea of moving in silence, it's still a perspective of being caught up on what others are thinking and doing as opposed to what you're thinking and doing, right? And the goal would be to eliminate the mindset altogether. It's to not even make anything that you're doing about what other people are doing in any kind of way. Because moving in silence is one thing, but it's definitely very outward focused. But if you just decide what I'm doing and how I'm living and how I'm choosing to live and what I'm creating and what I'm expanding into is just my business. And if someone asks me about it, I can tell them freely, or I can decide not to tell them or whatever. Then you have a whole different perspective on like what you want to accomplish and how you want to get it done. You're not constantly thinking like there's this, these eyes looking over your shoulder, wondering if you're going to fail or wondering if you're going to win or if you're going to lose, right? Because that is the main role that other people play sometimes in our information. If they're not like supportive and they're not like cheering us on, they're kind of waiting for us to fail in some sort of way. And I find that if we make our moves too much about what other people might think and try to hide it from them or try to move in a certain way to avoid them, it's still giving those outside entities way too much power. So when I say don't disclose, it's not necessarily an intention to move in silence. It's more of I'm just living my life and doing what I do and creating what I create, right? I can have full-fledged conversations with people and never really even talk about any projects I'm working on. And it's not that I'm holding back. It's like they generally don't even ask, which is perfectly fine. I don't know if I even ask too sometimes. I figure what people want to share, they're going to share with you at some point. But it allows me to sort of internalize my growth and internalize my own process so that I'm not always thinking about what other people might do to contaminate my mindset or something like that in some kind of way. And then when we make announcements, we have to admit to ourselves that that's just too outer focused. So it's like we say, well, I'm not making any announcements until that thing is done. My thing is, what about not making an announcement at all? What about just living your life as you like to live it and enjoying the things for yourself? Because this is the thing. Nobody else is really going to be enjoying that stuff or whatever you're creating or doing with you, right? So what about just having it? What about just living it, right? And if somebody happens to notice and somebody happens to come along and see it, then you can share. It's like, oh yeah, I've been working on that. Oh yeah, I got this done. Or, they have a comment. Oh yeah, I forgot I even did that. Because to me, it makes it more of a way of life that you have, like a way of living, as opposed to everything always being an announcement or something new. It still seems like it's the mindset of, this is not what I am. This is not who I am. I'm still reaching. I'm still grabbing. I'm still hustling. I'm still trying to get. If we kind of just make it a part of our everyday life and just kind of let it slide on in there and just be a thing, and then we're definitely not focused on making announcements to other people. Because then we got to think about what are our true motives behind those announcements sometimes? Is it really just to say, I'm so excited I did this? And I think that can be a very genuine approach. But sometimes it is to say, hey, you doubted me and then look what I have. You doubted me, but look what I accomplished. And I don't think that's a healthy mindset when you start trying to live in the greatness that you're creating. Like, it's great come up energy, right? It's great come up energy. It's like, it's great to have all these ops and these people against you when you're trying to come up and get to these places. But when you're trying to arrive and you're trying to just settle into it and nestle into the greatness that you've created or the next level that you've created, it almost brings you back down to a level when you are constantly worried about showing people what you have accomplished and done, as opposed to just being it, you know? And then it also allows our ideas to mature. So sometimes we have these big announcements like, I did this, I did that, I did this, which is fine and dandy. But sometimes it's like the middle of the announcement. It's like the middle of the plan. It's like the middle of the achievement. And if we want our ideas to grow and mature and expand, like for us and through us, then it's best to sort of just live it and be it and do it. And I think that I feel like inspired action and the right people show up in divine timing that actually give us insight when it's necessary. Because someone might say, well, you mentioned it, and then someone might share something with you that further pushes the idea along, that further gives you more information. But I think that's not necessarily happening in a forced type manner. I think that whether you like it or not, when that energy is flowing and you're pushing something forward, even if you don't mention it to anybody, something can pop up in your feed, and text message can come to you, an email that says, you ever thought about this, or just piques your interest. And then you add a new idea, you add a new layer to the idea you already have, and then it expands it. I've come up with so many ideas without even sharing my early concepts with other people. I was like, man, that would be cool. That would be this, that would be nice. And then it'll be in my head lingering around. And then I'll be doing something else, or I'm on YouTube, or reading an email, and I'm like, hey, that would be cool to add to this so-and-so thing, right? So sometimes if we keep things to ourselves, it's not so much about moving in silence and making sure people don't know what your next move is, because that's so outwardly focused. It's making all of your growth and expansion about what other people think and how they're receiving you. You can really get your ideas to mature, and then so like the impact that you want to make, or the connections that you want to create, the art that you want to put out, the creativity that you want to share, it really has a time to mature and expand, because it's not based on, let me pop out and show these people what I'm doing or what I got or what I'm working on, and then it gets you out of the habit also of trying to prove anything to anybody. Because that's kind of like a habit we get into when it comes to accomplishing things and doing things in life. Is like a part of it is proven. If we're being honest, a part of it is saying, I put in all this effort and I've been working on these things, and this is what I have to show for. This is who I am. But if we really think about it, it really doesn't matter what people think, right? Like, let them think whatever they want to think. Like, it doesn't remotely matter. I think the only way what other people are thinking of you matters is if you let it get in your head and you start letting it churn, and you start thinking like, I wonder if they're saying this, I wonder if they're doing that, oh, I'm gonna show them. You're wasting your time, because first of all, they don't really care. And even if they do have some remote care inside of there about what you're doing, the minute you accomplish or do the thing, they're just going to be quiet about it because they were possibly wrong. And to me, that's just not worth it. It's not worth the time and energy of going through the trouble of trying to prove anything to anybody. I think it's an emotional, intelligent kind of level you get to in life where you realize that this is not a group journey for most things that we're doing. This is kind of a solo journey, and wanting to prove what you've done to other people is always going to fall flat. Like, they're never going to care about it as much as you think. That's why you have so many people who are very accomplished in their fields, who've created so much, who've shared so much of their art, who are amazing singers, who are amazing artists, who are movie makers, who are writers, academics, all these things, and they still are horribly miserable sometimes. And I think it's because when you get to certain places in life, all of the accolades and all of the attention doesn't add up to what people think it will. So if you're not doing that stuff for yourself, if you're not creating it just for you or just for your own whimsy, it's always going to fall flat, because other people are just not that invested. And even when they are, you can't feel for them. You know what I mean? You can't feel, you can't transfer that energy like in that sort of way. Like, if you don't feel good about it, then it doesn't really matter how many people tell you that you're great. There's always going to be a deficit there, right? So I think that when you stop with the, announcements and sharing, oh, we did this, we did that. Social media is so good for that. And this is not just saying that I care about people's announcements, because that's not it. I still put congratulations on everything, because it is, I think it's exciting when people accomplish things. I already know the feeling. It's a wonderful feeling. But for your own personal sanity. That's my thought process. Get that outward focus away from it, because it stops you from truly living in your greatest version. It kind of holds you up into a space of always bouncing yourself and your ideas and who you are and what you're creating off of other people in a way that's not necessary, in a way that might be hindering your full creativity or your full expansion, right? And then you got to ask yourself, why is it important for you to share anyway? So I kind of mentioned this a second ago. Just think about that. Like, if you're trying to share something, or you want to post an accomplishment or something like that, like, what is the purpose of sharing it? And I know some people kind of disguise the purpose by saying, look what we did, or, like, we're doing it, people. And sometimes I think that stuff is real, but other times I think it's just an opportunity to share. But what are your intentions behind it? Because I can't really say what other people's intentions are behind why they share things or why they want everybody to know. But like, what are yours, People can sit and come up with a lot of ideas and like what you're doing and what's working and what's not. I've seen people come up with so many conclusions about people's marriages, people's relationships with their friends and families, people's financial status and stuff. And it's like, it really does not matter what's being said, because what's actually happening is happening in your world, and it's happening with you. So like, what they're saying is really just noise and chatter. So to be caught up on sharing something to like clear the air, clear things up, that's really a level of emotional intelligence and maturity that we have to outgrow, I watched a video the other day with a woman addressing like all of these things that people said negative about the last video that she put out. And the video was pretty good. It was about, sustaining a lifestyle that, that didn't require you to hate the job that you were doing and stuff like that. It was a great video. But when I saw the video, I was like, oh, there's a lot of comments in it that are negating what she's saying to some degree. But then, a couple of weeks passed. I mean, she went in cursing and everything, answering every little thing. You don't know nothing about me, this and that. And I'm just like, we got to ask ourselves sometimes, what does that say about our true belief system? It's saying that we feel like these people's words out there are more important than what we truly believe and know about ourselves. What the outside world is yelling and what they're looking at you about and what they're asking you to prove and all this, it means nothing. And you don't even have to address it, and you can still live a great life. There are several celebrities out there that never give like haters FaceTime, and they're still living really great lives. They're still expanding and growing and being. I can think of one really popular celebrity who she never gives any credit to the critics. She never addresses much of anything ever what they're saying. But does it ever take away from her own greatness in her life and what she's creating and being and doing? It never does. Right? And so it's like, you have to just keep that in mind. Once you get out of that, everybody's paying attention, or like, I'm the star of this show. You're the star of your own show. You're not the star of their show. And you go into the space of, I'm doing this stuff for me. You can enjoy what you're doing a whole lot more. Like, there's so many things that I do that has nothing to do with other people. And they're just things that I enjoy. And like, most people never even know about them, that they even exist. Whether it's hobbies, whether it's like rituals I do around my house, whether it's like things that I buy regularly because I like that kind of upkeep, or whatever it is. It's like, some things it's just not worth sharing. And you have to know the feeling of having things for yourself. Like, all of your information does not have anything to do with other people, nor does it belong to other people. Now, if you're asking yourself, why am I sharing? Sometimes it is to inspire. And I think that's lovely, right? But you know that. Only you know why you're really sharing something, or why you are, essentially trying to prove something to other people. Because if it's like inspiration and stuff like that, that's a worthy thing for you to feel like, this is why I'm sharing this information. But how much of that is necessary? Maybe not all of it, maybe a little bit of it, And I don't even think this is about the other people. This is about you having something that you can hold on to that's for you. Something that doesn't belong to other people, something that other people don't get to judge and give their input on. Because at the end of the day, we're all just living, we're all just people. We're all going to do this thing, and then we're all going to leave this earth, because that's just the way it works. So at the end of the day, you have to think, What do I want to keep for myself? What do I want to enjoy? What do I want to be something that I do for me? It builds your confidence. It builds your self-esteem. It builds your self-worth, because your self-worth is not being built on whether or not people approve of it or whether or not people are saying that you're great. It's like you can look and say, hey, I do this. This is cool. I actually do this well. And I can see myself as being great for doing it well, right? Anyway, never disclose. I'm going to say never, but think hard and long about disclosing your next moves to anyone. So this goes a little bit deeper than moving in silence. Moving in silence still has a lot to do with the other people, right? But when you're sharing things, like what is the motive? What are the motives behind it? And how much of it do you want to be something for you? You know? Anyway, I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.